There is a sound in the ocean loud enough to vibrate the bones inside your body from a mile away. It doesn't come from a machine. It comes from an animal. The single loudest animal that has ever lived. Louder than a jet engine, louder than a rocket launch measured underwater. Around 230 decibels, fired straight down into the black. And the thing making it is the largest predator with teeth on the entire planet. Bigger than any shark, bigger than any orca. It dives deeper than a nuclear submarine is rated to go, holds its breath for over an hour, and hunts a monster most people think is a myth. You already know its face. It's on the cover of the most famous book about the sea ever written. It's the gentle giant in every children's ocean poster. It is not gentle. And down where it works, in a darkness the sun has never touched, the entire food chain gets very, very quiet when it arrives. This is the sperm whale, Physeter macrocephalus, and almost everything you were taught about it is soft, friendly, and wrong. But here's the question that actually matters, the one nobody asks. A hunter this big, this loud, alone in the dark. What could possibly still scare it down there? Hold on to that. The answer is the whole story. We file it next to the humpback and the blue whale, the big, slow, harmless cousins that eat tiny things and sing sad songs. And the sperm whale does look the part at the surface. It floats there like a giant gray log, breathing, doing nothing. Then it tips its head down and disappears. And the version of it that comes back up an hour later has been somewhere no human being can survive, doing something we still don't completely understand, to an animal with the largest eyes on Earth. Here's the part that should reset how you see it. The blue whale is bigger, but the blue whale eats krill, specks of shrimp it filters by the ton. The sperm whale is the biggest thing in the ocean with actual teeth. It doesn't filter, it hunts. It picks a target in total darkness and goes and gets it. So the question isn't, how big is it? Everyone asks that. The better one is what a hunter this size, this loud, and this smart chooses to spend its whole life chasing into the dark. And what kind of thing it takes to make an animal like this the one that's afraid. Give me the next 15 minutes. By the end, the friendly whale on the poster is going to look like the most terrifying animal on the planet. Because that's exactly what it is. Here's the plan. First, the size, because the numbers are stranger than the ones you're imagining, and they set up everything else. Then the weapon, and it's not the teeth. The real weapon sits inside that enormous, square head. And it's the reason biologists think this animal might be able to hurt something without ever touching it. Then the dive, the part that genuinely shouldn't be survivable. The pressure down there would crush a steel hull. The whale swims into it on purpose, on one breath, and comes back fine. Then what it eats, which is where we finally meet the thing on the other end of the fight, and see the scars it leaves behind. And finally, the one animal that ever actually beat the sperm whale. It wasn't a shark. It wasn't the Kraken. It was something much closer to home. Let's start with the size, because it's the smallest surprise here, and it's already ridiculous. How big is a sperm whale, really? A large male runs about 16 meters, around 52 feet. The biggest one ever properly recorded stretched almost 21 meters. That's a single animal longer than a city bus, and then most of another bus stacked on the end of it. It weighs up to 45 tons. Put that in your driveway. 45 tons is about 6 adult elephants. 6 of the largest land animals alive fused into one body and then dropped into the water, where it moves faster than you can swim in a panic. But raw length isn't the unsettling part. This is the head. Roughly a third of the whole animal is just head. One giant, blunt, square battering ram filling the front of it like the bow of a ship. Most animals lead with teeth or claws, the pointy, honest weapons. The sperm whale leads with a wall. And your instinct is to think, fine, big dumb head. That instinct is about to cost you, because that big dumb head is the most sophisticated piece of equipment in the ocean, and we're going to open it up in a second. Oh, and one more scale problem. The females and calves travel in tight family groups, and they stay near the surface. The huge males, they go off alone, into the deep, into the cold and the dark, by choice. So the biggest, most powerful version of this animal is also the one hunting solo, out of sight, where nobody's watching. Which raises the obvious question, if the body is this big, what's the weapon? Here's where people guess wrong. They point at the teeth, and the teeth are real. Up to 20 centimeters long, about 1 kilogram each, a full row of them. But only on the lower jaw. The upper jaw just has sockets they slot into. Which is strange. If teeth were the whole plan, you'd want them everywhere. Nature gave this animal a bottom row and called it done. That's the first clue. The teeth aren't the main weapon. The head is. Inside that giant square forehead is a cavity filled with a waxy oil, the spermaceti organ. According to the Natural History Museum, it works like a biological sonar dish. The whale fires a click out through it. The click travels through the water, hits something, and bounces back. And the whale reads the echo the way you read a face. Now, the number that should stop you. Those clicks have been measured at around 230 decibels. Guinness World Records lists it as the loudest sound produced by any animal, period. A jet engine at takeoff is about 150. This is not a little louder. Decibels stack in a way that means 230 is in a completely different universe of energy. A physical punch of sound, not just a noise. And here's the part biologists are still arguing about, so I'll be honest that it's an open question and not a settled fact. Some researchers suspect that at close range, a burst of clicks that loud could stun a squid, or at least disorient it. A wall of sound as a weapon. Others have watched sperm whales hunt and only seen chasing and clicking, no obvious stun. So we genuinely don't know yet whether this thing can hit prey with pure sound. Sit with that for a second. The loudest animal on Earth, using the loudest sound on Earth, in the dark, and we, with all our instruments, still can't fully explain what that sound does to whatever's on the other end. But to understand why the sound matters this much, you have to follow the whale to the place it actually uses it. And that place should not be survivable. So where does a sperm whale actually hunt? Down, straight down, into water that would kill you in about 4 different ways at once. A sperm whale regularly dives to 1,000 meters. It's been recorded going past 2,200, more than 7,000 feet, over a mile of black water on top of it. And it does the whole trip on one breath, staying under for up to 90 minutes. 90 minutes? Hold your breath right now and see how far you get. You'll quit before this sentence ends. The whale is just getting started. Here's the pressure problem. At 2,000 meters, the water is pressing in at around 200 times the pressure at the surface. That's the kind of force that implodes steel. Submarines have a crush depth, a number past which the hull just fails. The sperm whale swims past that number on purpose and comes back up completely fine. How? It cheats physics in a way that sounds made up. As it goes down, its lungs deliberately collapse. It empties them out, folds them flat, because air at that depth is a liability. It'll force nitrogen into the blood and give it the bends. So it doesn't carry its oxygen in its lungs at all. It carries it in its blood and its muscles. This animal has roughly twice the hemoglobin you do, and about 10 times the myoglobin packed into its muscle. Its body is a battery. It shuts blood off to anything it doesn't urgently need and keeps its brain and heart running in the dark on stored oxygen for over an hour, a mile down. And down there, none of the size, none of the strength matters, because there is zero light. The eyes are useless. This is the exact place that giant head earns its keep. The whale is hunting completely blind, seeing the entire pitch-black world through sound alone. Which brings us to the honest mystery of this animal, and it's a good one. We know it goes down there. We know it comes back up, fed. We know it's using sound. But we still can't fully watch what happens in that final moment in the dark when the loudest hunter on Earth closes in on its prey. It's one of the last real blind spots we have about a large animal, and we only just started filling it in. In 2026, a 7-year listening study by the research institute MBARI found sperm whales are far more common off the coast of California than anyone believed. Meaning, they've been hunting right off a coastline millions of people live on, in numbers we completely missed this entire time. You're not too far from one right now. You just can't hear the part of the ocean it works in. So what is it going down there to kill? The sperm whale dives a mile into the dark for one main reason: squid. And not the calamari kind. Its favorite prey is the giant squid, and its even larger cousin, the animals that built every Kraken legend humans ever told. Arms lined with rings of teeth-like suckers, the largest eyes of any animal that has ever existed, each one the size of a dinner plate, evolved for exactly one job: catching the faintest glimmer of a predator coming in the dark. And the sperm whale eats them by the ton. An adult male puts away enormous quantities of squid every single day. It goes down, finds one of the most alien animals on the planet in water with no light, and takes it. Now, does the giant squid just accept this? No. And we have the proof written on the whales themselves. Look closely at an older sperm whale, and its skin is covered in pale, circular rings. Those are sucker scars. According to the Smithsonian, they're the marks left by the giant squid's arms and tentacles gripping the whale during the fight. Old males have so many, the scars overlap into a map. Every ring is a battle that happened a mile down in total darkness between two of the largest animals on Earth. And the whale is the one that surfaced to breathe again. Think about what that means for a second. The Kraken, the legendary sea monster that terrified sailors for centuries, is real. It's the giant squid. And it's not the top of that food chain. It's the prey. There is something that eats the monster. That something is the animal on the friendly ocean poster, which is the whole reason for this video's title. The sperm whale is the thing the deep ocean is afraid of, because it's the thing that goes into the deep ocean's worst nightmare and eats it. If a hunter that treats the Kraken as a snack just changed how you picture harmless whale, subscribe, because there's one twist left and it flips the entire story. Because for all of this, the size, the sound, the dive, the appetite, the sperm whale does have one enemy, and it's not the squid. If the sperm whale is this powerful, what could possibly threaten it? Two things. One has fins, one has hands. The first is the orca, the killer whale. And here's the detail that ties this animal to everything we know about ocean hunters. A single orca cannot take a healthy adult sperm whale. It's too big, too strong. But orcas don't hunt alone. They hunt as coordinated packs, using strategy, targeting the calves. And the sperm whales have an answer for that. A defensive move so specific it has a name. When a pod is threatened, the adults form a circle, heads pointed inward, tails pointed out, the calves tucked safe in the middle. From above, it looks like a flower, and biologists call it the Marguerite Formation, a ring of 40-ton bodies with the most powerful tails in the ocean facing outward, daring the pack to come closer. So even the orca, the animal smart enough to flip a great white shark upside down and switch it off, can't beat a sperm whale one-on-one. It needs the whole family, and it needs a plan. That's how far up the food chain this thing sits. The second threat is the one that actually did the damage. Us. For about 2 centuries, humans hunted sperm whales across every ocean on the planet. Not for meat, but for the oil in that giant head. Spermaceti burned cleaner than anything else available, so it lit lamps and greased machines through the entire Industrial Revolution. We nearly emptied the sea of them. The single most powerful predator in the ocean, the one the giant squid loses to, the one the orca needs a pack to challenge, was almost wiped out by people in wooden boats chasing the wax in its skull. They're still recovering, still listed as vulnerable. The loudest, deepest diving, biggest-brained hunter that has ever lived, and the only thing that ever truly beat it, was a species that can't hold its breath for 2 minutes. So step back and look at what this animal actually is. We put the sperm whale in the gentle giant file because we only ever see the top 2 feet of it, the gray log at the surface, breathing, doing nothing. That's the only part of its life that happens in our world. Everything that makes it terrifying happens in a place we cannot go, in a darkness we cannot survive, against a monster we thought was a fairy tale. And that's the real lesson in the water. The scariest predator in the ocean isn't the one with the most teeth or the biggest reputation. It's the one that quietly mastered the one place nothing else can reach, went a mile down into the black, learned to hunt with sound instead of sight, and made the legendary sea monster into a meal. And that should sit a little close to home, too. Because there's exactly one other animal on this planet whose whole trick is go where nothing else can go, using a tool nobody else has, and take the thing everyone was afraid of. You're related to that strategy. You're using a version of it right now. looking a mile underwater from a dry room, watching a hunter you'll almost certainly never meet. The sperm whale didn't need to be the biggest. The blue whale won that. It needed to be the one that owns the dark. And it does. Here's the thought that stays with you. Every legend humans ever told about a sea monster, the Kraken dragging ships down, the eye in the black water, the thing with too many arms, was real. We just got the ending backwards. The monster wasn't the top of the story. There was always something bigger in the dark, hunting the monster. And it's still down there, right now. Off your coastline, probably closer than you'd like. A 40-ton hunter is tipping its head toward the bottom of the ocean and firing the loudest sound on Earth into the black, listening for something to eat. You will spend your whole life at the surface. It spends its whole life below it. And the only reason the ocean feels calm from where you're standing is that you're standing in the 2 feet of it the sperm whale doesn't bother with. So, the sperm whale isn't the gentle one. It's the largest toothed hunter alive, with the biggest brain and the loudest voice of any animal on Earth, diving past the crush depth of a submarine to eat the animal that built the Kraken myth. Not the friendliest whale, the most dangerous one. That's why the deep ocean goes quiet when it arrives. And that's why the only thing that ever beat it was us. Subscribe. There's a new ocean predator breakdown every week, and the next one lives down where even the sperm whale has to be careful and meets the exact monster it hunts face to face. The ocean has a real sea monster. It's been on the poster in your childhood classroom the whole time, and it's far worse than the legend.